Welcome to the Harper Tech Academy. Today we're actually going to have a look at WHS. So this is the third mix. We've got hazard identification part 1, which is this one, and part 2. So we're actually going to look at definitions. We're actually going to look at how hazard identification fits into the hospitality industry, and I'm going to give you all those keys you need to actually do some hazard identification in class. So let's go. To work successfully in the hospitality industry, it's very important that you have an understanding in key areas. And what we're going to learn today, we're actually going to look at hazard terminology, we're going to look at risk management in the hospitality industry, and also hazard identification in different areas. So let's have a look at some definitions. First of all, we're going to look at the difference between an incident and an accident. So I'll give you an example. If someone slips on the floor and they don't hurt themselves, but it's been a near miss, that's called an incident. If they slip on the floor and they actually fall over, break their back or the neck, that's an accident. Now in the hospitality industry, it's really important, if there are a number of incidents that happen the same, that's actually brought to the employer to work out how they can minimize that. Next, we're going to look at some more definitions. So a hazard is something currently in or may in the future be in the work environment that has the potential to cause harm to people. Hazard identification is that process that we go through to identify possible situations where people may be exposed to injury, illness, or disease, and that's important. Finally, risk is the chance or the likelihood of that hazard harming people, and we're actually going to do some risk analysis in class, and this will really set you up for it. Now that we have the definitions, actually let's have a look at the application to the hospitality industry. So we have manual handling, slips, trips and falls. There's lots of hot surfaces and substances we can burn ourselves on, large and small tools and equipment. We've looked at biological in the food safety modules, work environment, and that isn't just slips, trips and falls. That could be ventilation, that could be lighting. We work with electricity and gas in the hospitality industry, the policies and procedures in the processes and practices, and we're going to talk about human factors. One of those first factors is manual handling. Now you'll see this is a good example of good manual handling, that his spine the whole way up is nice and straight, and you're actually supporting yourself and lifting with the legs. If you were to do that badly, you just bend over and actually pick up, and that can strain the back. So manual handling, let's have a look at the hazardous manual handling tasks. And this could require a person to lift, lower, push, pull, carry, or otherwise move or hold or restrain. These may include sustained or awkward positions, repetitive or sustained force, high or sudden force, repetitive movement, and exposure to vibration. Are you excited? I'm back on camera again. So the next one we're going to look at is ergonomics. Ergonomics is the science of designing machines, products and systems to maximize the safety, comfort and efficiency of people who use them. So here's an example of a lady using a computer. Now straight away you can see the viewing angle, and the distance means that she doesn't actually bend her neck over, it's straight. You'll see there that her back is straight, that her legs are at a 90-degree angle to the floor. Also, her wrists actually sit at a 90-degree angle to the keyboard. And you may have heard of repetitive strain injury for office workers that work many hours on the keyboard, and this is a big problem in our day and age. So ergonomics is very important. When we talk WHS, most people think about the physical environment and never really think about human factors, but it comes into play with workplace health safety. In kitchens, if you're not given enough time to actually do the task, this can cause a lot of stress, and hospitality environments are stressful. Violence and bullying isn't good. Fatigue from working too long or too many hours, poor personal hygiene with the food safety, and also those people who decide to ignore the safety concerns, not using the correct PPE, and this can actually cause accidents within a workplace. All right, let's look at work environment. When you go on your work placements, you may be in a kitchen like this. Now you'll see around the floor area, there are many chances for water to be on the floor for slips, trips and falls. Many hot surfaces, we have ovens, we have stoves over here and big pots. Chemicals, the chemicals are actually stored over here. You'll notice some of the dry stores are here, and right behind us is where the cool room is. And you'll notice also in this environment that the electricity comes down from the floor, and all of these ovens are run by gas. Biological hazards in WHS doesn't always refer to the food. Air conditioning ducts in big buildings sometimes get biological outbreaks of viruses actually growing in there and can actually cause disease. We also, from a hospitality environment, look at how we store our food, the environmental hygiene throughout the whole kitchen, and also our cleaning procedures to keep that nice and safe. Processes and practices within any hospitality establishment are so very, very important. You'll see here that I have some examples of emergency procedures. We've got fire, evacuation, bomb threats, a medical emergency, armed hold-up or a personal threat. So when you're actually looking at that, we're looking at policies within the establishment, the procedures, and the procedures are no good if there is no staff training and people don't know about them or practice them. So these are the three keys to actually making sure our processes and practices are good for WHS. From previous mixes, you'll know that WHS is everyone's responsibility, and we've just done hazards identification part 1. So we've looked at those definitions, we've looked at its application to the hospitality industry, we've looked at some of those hazard factors and understood, and in the next one we're actually going to look at how you can use these hazard factors to actually minimize hazards within the kitchen. Thanks for listening. See you next time at the Harper Tech Academy.